Good morning. Very interesting paper just published in the New England Journal of Medicine, November 13, 2021, on urinary sodium and potassium excretion and cardiovascular risk. As you can see here, the higher the sodium, this is a proxy of salt intake, excretion, the higher the risk of developing cardiovascular disease. So let's look very carefully at the data. So this is a paper by the Harvard group, Frank Hu, Walter Willett, Eric Rim, John Manson, and many other friends, on 10,000, almost 11,000 participants with an average age of 52 years. 54% were women, and they've been followed for 8.8 years. And what they found is that the median 24-hour urinary excretion of sodium was related with an increased risk of cardiovascular disease. And potassium excretion was negatively. So the higher the potassium excretion, the lower the risk of cardiovascular disease. So to make a long story short, as you can see here, for each daily increment of 1,000 milligram, 1 gram of sodium excretion, there was a 18% increased risk of cardiovascular risk. And for each daily increment of 1 gram of potassium excretion, there was an 18% decreased risk. So in summary, the conclusion is that higher sodium and lower potassium intakes, as measured in multiple 24-hour urine samples, are associated in a dose-response manner with a higher cardiovascular risk. So, as I wrote in my book, The Path to Longevity, there is a chapter on salt intake and risk of hypertension, stroke, and heart failure, and stomach cancer. Basically, sodium, salt, it's mostly hidden. 70 to 80% of salt that most people consume can be found in packaged industrial foods, industrial bread, cheese, processed meat, salami and ham, potato chips, sauces, spreads, and even breakfast cereals. Just to give an example, a small bag of chips contains between 170 and 200 milligrams of sodium. 2 slices of typical industrial bread, one of these bun bread, can contain up to 170 milligrams of sodium. 1 serving of cottage cheese, 450 milligrams, and 1 can of vegetable soup, of certain soups, so you should read the label very carefully, can hide 640, 650 milligrams of sodium. So how much sodium you should consume every day? Where the World Health Organization and the Institute of Medicine indicate that adults and children aged 14 years or older should consume no more than 6 grams of salt or 2,300 milligrams of sodium per day. Okay, so basically you can see that it's very easy to reach that level, and if you are consuming these salty processed and packaged foods. So be careful, read your labels, and use salt for cooking in a very measured way, and use salt that contains iodine, because it's very important, as I discussed, is very important for your health. So because iodine is important for thyroid function, and so you need to get, you know, from iodized salt, the iodine that you need, you know, for your proper thyroid function. So where we can find potassium? So what are foods that are very rich in potassium? Because as we have seen in this paper, in this New England Journal of Medicine paper, potassium is inversely correlated with cardiovascular disease risk. Well, you know, these are the website of the dietary guidelines for Americans, and this is a table where you can find, you know, the foods with standard portions. So 1 cup of beet greens cooked contain 1,300 milligrams of potassium. Then, you know, a lot of beans like lima beans cooked, 1 cup, almost 1,000. Swiss chard cooked, 1 cup, 961. Potato baked with skin, 926. Squash, 896. Spinach cooked, 839. Then, you know, bamboo shoots, 805. Carrot juice, 689. Taro roots or plantains, 660. Adzuki beans, 612. Cress raw, 2 cups, 606. Again, squash, sweet potatoes, 1 cup, 572. And again, you know, broccoli, 550. Mushroom portobello, 529. And vegetable juice, 100, 518. Again, beans, pumpkin, artichoke, 1 cup, 480. And so on. Boy choy, soybeans, half a cup, 443. Carrots raw, 1 cup, 410. So these are the foods that you should consume to lower your risk of hypertension and cardiovascular disease based on this paper just published in the New England Journal of Medicine. Thank you for listening, as always.